Hello, I'm Bích Trâm from 19BSM, and today I will introduce about a case that happened in Philadelphia in 2018. Uh, the incident occurred in April 12. There were two black men arrested by the police because of sitting in the Starbucks coffee without buying any drinks. They did not bother anyone or threaten. They just sat in the store and were waiting for the meeting. The incident was specifically reported that at 4:35, the two men came to the store. One of them just arrived and asked to use the Starbucks restroom immediately. After a while, the staff asked if they need to order anything, and because they were waiting for their friend, they refused to wait until the friend comes. It was a business meeting. Actually, it's about real estate business. They will not lie to the employee, so the staff did not ask them to leave the coffee shop. Instead, her action at that moment sparked widespread outrage for days later. She called the police. Yes, she called the police because she assumed that the men were trespassing and had refused to leave the coffee shop. Just 2 minutes after the men arrived, 4:37 to be exact, the police arrived. In the video, Philadelphia real estate investor, also their friend, asked the police were called and attempted to explain to the police that the two men were waiting for him. The video shows the two men remain calm throughout the entire conversation with the police. They didn't raise their voice, and the men refused to leave after being asked 3 times by the officer, and then they were arrested. The customers around were wondering why these two young men were arrested when they also did the same thing. They also sat in the store and not purchasing anything. Even the person who recorded the video, who sat close to them, confirmed that she had been waiting for her children without ordering anything at Starbucks, and she's still sitting in the store. The incident climaxed when the video of the police coming to handcuff the two young men was spread on Twitter. People began to protest and boycott Starbucks. Yeah, this is a huge loss of Starbucks Philadelphia. The protesters sat in the front of the Philadelphia Starbucks the days following the event so they can't do any business activities. There were more than 3 dozen of people gathered to protest Starbucks because of racist action from the store manager. Demonstrators called for firing the employee who contacted the police, and also the police who arrested the man on the day. All eyes were on the coffee shop action, including press, media, and the consumer, also the stakeholders. And I want to share the case because of the leadership of this case is excellent. On the Starbucks side, after the incident, the Starbucks CEO had quick actions and solutions to respond to the situation, which is commendable. The first thing Kevin Johnson, the CEO of the company, did was to admit his mistake. Also the company's mistakes because of lack of training. He posted his apology statement on Starbucks social media channel. To reaffirm that the incident, he took his responsibility and mentioned how Starbucks will address it. He stated that the incident is a reprehensive situation and he will investigate the incident further. He also, the spokesperson also had covered the information clearly on interviews, social media, and posts on the company website. With the cooperation with the media, it showed the transparency of the company towards error, and this built the trust from the public to the company image. The second thing Mr. Johnson did was to find a way to solve the bad outcome and relieve the anger from community. The CEO met directly to the victim and apologized to them. Moreover, the Starbucks representative also expressed his willingness to listen opinions of two black people to correct their mistakes. Kevin Johnson also met Mayor Kenny and the police commissioner Richard Ross and other community leaders to investigate and adopt the best practice for the situation. These actions had proved the honest apology from the leader of the company, the contribution from the two arrested men to solve the situation with Starbucks partially solved the racist protest in front of the store. He was attempt to calm down the protester, and the third thing he did was to fight and to prevent it. Johnson acknowledged that employees need more training, including when to call 911. Besides, Starbucks also rewrote their policy. The company intended to erase the effects of unconscious racial bias among its employees in a single afternoon. They called a full stop, closing all domestic stores on 29 May. Is dramatic. It's a dramatic move, even if the calculated loss of sale is huge. They accept it, and the CEO of Starbucks, also the Starbucks managers, have taken decisive action. Um, they they I have introduced the three things that have highlighted the leadership of Kevin Johnson in this case, and moreover, beside Kevin Johnson, a leader from CEO, a leader from Starbucks, there is one leader from the office side, the commissioner Richard Ross, who is black. Um, when the incident happened, he staunchly defended the police for the handling of the incident, and the Philadelphia police chief said his officer did nothing wrong. He defended the officer involved in the arrested, and as they act appropriately. The thing he did is right. He protect his employee, but he he did one thing that I think is miserable because he didn't investigate deeply about the incident. So that led to a few days later, he admitted that he had made the situation worse and failed miserably in the messaging around the arrest. The police department did not directly witness the case, so they didn't know that the Starbucks accept welcome the customer without buying anything. So they also by by doing it that the police have been criticized by the public a lot. So to solve that, the police department did not um, the police department conducted a new policy that include the case to it, they conduct sorry they conduct a new policy that mentioned uh, about the police must see eye to eye on the incident before deciding whether to arrest or not. So he revised the policy. This is an attempt to improve the situation from a leader, and he also apologized to the two men. This is acceptable for a leader to make a mistake. Yeah, I think. And finally, the lesson that I learned throughout the case, it is this is an is this is an incident caused by the employee. So the stomach met the challenge well. Yeah, and the leader's action have turned the crisis into chance to increase the customer loyalty. After learning about this case, I realized three lessons that leaders must do when faced with the problem, especially the problem that relate to media. Yeah. The first is quick. The leader should respond to the public quickly when things happen. The media will spread very quickly. Each action must be taken and communicate to the followers, and they need to constantly updating information for followers. That this is something that something to reassure the stakeholders. The second thing is to be specific. Directing behaviors include giving specific directions and instructions and attempting to control the situation as soon as possible to meet the demand of followers. The actions of the leader Kevin Johnson are very specific. He, he identified the roots of the problem, he solved it, and he offered a way to avoid it in the future. The plans were outlined and tracked very smoothly. This makes the followers put their trust in the leader commitment. The last thing is the, the sincerity. Do you agree that attitude is the key in dealing with situation, especially when the organization has made a mistake? In any case, sincerity is always appreciated. Trust is also built on sincerity, and Mr. Johnson made the statement and apologized to the two men, especially the face-to-face apologies has made things improve in a positive way. So in the future, I will apply three things to solve a problem when when facing with crisis, especially criticized from the public. I think the leader style like Kevin Johnson is commendable, and we should learn from him a lot about his action and about his commitment, and also the attitude. This is the end of my presentation. Thanks for listening.